All right, we're going to go ahead and get started here. Thank you all so much for joining me this morning. I'm your host, as always, Sun Wong. I know I've been out of the office for quite some time, but it feels great to be back with all you guys. So, welcome back to the show. If this is your first, if it's a returning customer, if you're a first-time viewer, I want to welcome you guys to Aver's live CP series webinar, where I'll be going over our very new firmware version 44 that just recently came out. And I'll be going over some of the differences, some of the new features that came out with this new firmware, along with a general overview of our Aver IFP for all of our new customers. And this is going to be a very interactive webinar. I'll be monitoring the chat, so if you guys have any questions, go ahead and feel free to answer or ask me any questions via chat, and I'll make sure to answer all those questions at the end of our session. So stay tuned. So I hope you guys can all see my screen right here. This is the Aver CP Series 75-inch model that I got on the screen. They all come with an embedded Android operating system. So something that we're all very used to using, our cell phones, iPhone, Android devices, it's going to be the exact same user interface where you can press and hold different icons to customize your desktop just like this. You can have multiple desktops as well. So if you haven't updated to V44 yet, it's really, really simple. Go to All Apps, go to System Update, and here you can just update your firmware through the OTA to get our newest firmware. So the first things you can see right away is the change in our menu bar. We've added the screen share feature to the menu bar and removed the source button. But of course, you can always change the source through our source icon here. So these left and right hand arrow buttons that you see on the screen, these is how you would navigate through the panel, and these are very identical. And if you're wondering what type of I/O ports our Aver IFP has 5 different HDMI and touch USB ports where you can connect your HDMI and laptop devices to it. You can then use your device on the screen like we normally do. And then we still got support for that old school composite connections or VGA if you're still a VGA user. All right, first thing I want to dive into is our new screen share feature. This is going to be our new native software that we're going to be using to actually interact with all your other devices. So if you're a teacher and you have a one-to-one district where you're using, or every student is using like a Chromebook or iPad, this is going to be excellent because as you can see here, we have support for all those classroom devices, whether you're using Mac OS, Chromecast, Android devices, or Windows 10. So it supports for all of those. And now you can see our panel name. We've added this little feature here, this little gear icon, where you can actually customize and change the name of your panel name. So that's the new thing that we've added in the screen share feature. We've also added a layer of security where you can enable it to approve any incoming requests to screen share the panel. All right, so let's go ahead and dive right into it. Native wireless screen share using a Chromebook. Probably one of the easiest things you can do. All right, so check this out. On the Chromebook, bottom right, go ahead, click it. You see cast devices available. I see my Aver board demo name, and then click share. Now, as soon as I press that, on the bottom left here, you see cast device wants to connect. This is going to be like Jason's Chromebook wants to connect. So you got like 10 or 20 seconds, whatever you choose to press accept. And as soon as I accept it, I'm casting from my Chromebook directly to my panel without any need of any other extensions, without downloading an app, without scanning any confusing QR codes. So we got you covered with this application. It's super easy, super great to use. You can full screen videos, even play YouTube videos off of this screencasting. I can pause it, and then what's great is that I can then pull up my annotation overlay. So annotation overlay is going to be available no matter what source, no matter what you have on the screen. Just imagine it as putting a transparency glass over your panel and then pulling it up and now being able to annotate over anything you have on the screen, okay? So this supports up to 10 points of touch. So you have 10 unique users writing on the board with either your finger or pen. And then you can always, of course, take snapshots to save it onto your Android operating system. 16 gigabytes of storage space, expandable via USB. So once we're done here, I can exit out of this annotation, close this, and then if I want to stop screen share, just click on this on the bottom right and just go to stop. And now your next device is ready to share. If you want to use iOS, it's just as easy. You pretty much just bring up Control Center by sliding from underneath. So you just slide it from underneath, go to screen mirroring, and then you'll see the Averboard name. And then it says, see, my name right here, Sun Wong iPhone wants to connect. Go ahead and accept it. And there we got my Averboard right there. And it's just that easy to do. So here, I can bring up my calendar. I can show you guys my schedule. But it's absolutely great. This thing even auto-rotates with the screen. I can bring up my mail if I wanted to. So here we got my mail. And then, of course, even if I wanted to, can write on the screen. Always, even when I'm screencasting like this. So very, very useful tool to use in the classroom. I think it's excellent. So easy to use, no need for any QR code or extension, or it's just really intuitive. So it's pretty much a built-in Apple TV, Chromecast, and Miracast devices for your Windows and Android devices. All built into the panel, exclusive to our Averboard. It's probably my favorite feature of the board that separates us from everyone else. Once I'm done here, I'm done with this app, I can exit out, just going to home screen. Pressing the home button always lets you recall it and going back to this home screen. So you can always go back to this, just like tapping the home button on your iPhone or your Android device. Next feature is integration with Google Drive and Dropbox or OneDrive, whichever one you use. But basically, in our new V44 firmware update, you now have a brand new ES File Manager Explorer. So this file manager has a new look, new feel to it, more intuitive, more easy for you to use. As soon as you get to this home screen right here, you have different apps. Well, not different apps, different shortcuts you can go to. Of course, you can always access it the same to the left-hand side, but it's always a lot easier to do it through here now. Everything is labeled out here. So I want to go through cloud storage and setting that up. So go to cloud when you go to the home screen. And from here, you can actually set up your new drive. So just press on the new button here. And this is where you have support for all those different cloud drives that you may have. So the most popular ones that I already set up, as you can see here, Microsoft Drive, Google Drive, and Dropbox. And as a teacher, you want to set this up because it gives you all the access to all your different teaching files, pictures, movies, whatnot. Anything you put on the drive is going to be on here. You have access to it completely. And you can also set up, drives that your students have access to so that they can actually, view those files that you edit from the board directly. So we're going to do a quick example of me grabbing some documents from my drive, making some edits to them, and then re-uploading them from my panel here. So first lesson I like to bring up is let's try the geometry notes. So I'm going to open up this geometry notes lesson. So it's going to download a local version from the cloud right now onto my IFP here. And it's going to open it up directly into my whiteboard software. And now this software is excellent because it's actually like a true PDF editor. And we all know how difficult editing PDFs actually are. But in the software, anything that you actually write here or do in the software is actually embedded in the document. So this is actually scalable. So this scales with the document, these lines I make, and annotations. So it's actually a true PDF editor. And we all know how difficult it is to view a very large PDF file on your computer, but this software makes it so easy. I tap on this number button on the bottom right here, and I can view all the different pages in this document. And this is like a huge document I got here, but I can easily switch between the different pages so seamlessly. And as you can see, any annotation I've made is going to be viewable right away in this view. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into this page right here and maybe follow along this question. So let's just do a quick example. Oh, that's an ugly line. I can use some of the tools I have in my whiteboard software, make it a little prettier. So let's try this out. Let's just do this. Okay, and now everything that you do in this software is actually selectable. So I can actually group select this entire thing right here, this angle. I can make a copy of it. So I'll copy it, and then like I can go to the next page and actually paste it. So I'll go ahead and paste that. And now I have even more power. I can manipulate it by enlarging it. I can change the color of it, or I can change the thickness of it. So you have all those options there available. And then I can even insert new pages into this PDF document. So if I press and hold this number button, I can go to Insert Page, choose my background, and here's just a quick overview of all these different templates that we have available to you. So we have your white line paper, graph paper, math and engineering, music, sports, and even planners and lists. So a whole bunch of different templates to cover your topics. If you're a basketball fan, that's great for you. I just watched that game yesterday. Game 2, Warriors versus Houston Rockets. It was a very disappointing and sad game since, you know, I'm from the Bay Area. But hopefully, Game 3 will be a different story here at Oracle Arena. Anyways, going on, here's my graph. I can paste that thing I made from before. So paste that guy here. I can make additional edits to this document. Can, you know, go ahead and doodle on this board. Let's change this color, different color. All right, now that I've completely filled up my canvas on a typical whiteboard, once you do this, you're gonna run out of space. So the only way to get more space is to erase what you have, but in this software, it's actually an unlimited canvas where I can actually pan and zoom to different areas, and I can even pinch and zoom out. And once I do this, I now even have more space to write on my board. Additionally, I can even select these like different grid lines I made. Like I can select this guy again, and then I can move them and make them bigger to fill up the whole screen. So now I got my graph here. I can fill up the whole screen here. So just really cool things really cool options that I have with this whole panel. I can rename it. So originally, it was Geometry Notes 1. When you download a local version and open it up into Whiteboard, it creates a custom name for it. So this is so that when you re-upload it back onto the drive, it can be a new document. If you want to replace the pre-existing document on your cloud, just rename it the same by erasing these end letters and naming it the exact same thing to replace it. So there we have it. When I go back to this view, I see that new page I've inserted. I can press and hold this page to move it around. And so you really have full customizability, full powers to edit this whole document here. So you can really do a lot with this whiteboard software, especially with PDFs, just because it's so like excellent, works so seamlessly with it. You know, I can zoom in and make, you know, whichever edits I need to for this document. Oh, look at that. I did a pretty good job drawing my little cone here. And I can annotate with either pen or finger. So this does come with 2 styluses. Here's one of them. I can write with, you know, the stylus or with my pen here. Stylus or finger, sorry. All right, so once we are done editing our document here, it's time to upload this back onto the cloud for the students to get access to, right? So we're gonna go ahead and press on these 3 dots, go to export, and now we can choose to export just this one page or the entire note in 3 different formats. And then I'm going to press on ES Save to, and here I can actually select where I want to save this guy to. So I can save it back to my Google Drive where I saved it from, where I downloaded it from originally, or I can choose a new drive, such as my OneDrive or Dropbox. So For this example, let's just go ahead and go into the Dropbox and upload it back to here. So I select, uploading, uploading, and boom, it's done. So take note, this is the name of my document. Let's go back to File Manager. So this time, I'm going to go back to my cloud, Dropbox, and what do you know? It's right there. So that document I just pulled from my Google Drive, made my edits to the lesson with the classroom, uploaded it back onto a different drive, or it could be anywhere you want, locally, cloud. It's all up to you. So now I have these two here. And then I can make edits to this drive with the documents by pressing and holding. I can select them. I can delete these documents if I want. I have full control over the drive through our new File Explorer here. So this will be located right here, File Manager. So remember that, folks. And other thing I want to go over, of course, is our integration with our wireless document cameras. So if you have and purchase an F70W, you can go ahead and launch the Sphere 2 software. And this is where you can connect all of your different wireless favorite document cameras to the board to have that integration piece with it. So here we have my doc cam in my demo room, Sun's demo. Go ahead and select it. I see a preview of it. I'm just gonna go ahead and press start. So this guy, boom, he is completely wireless. I can move this around in the classroom, so you can already imagine as a teacher how you can use this type of document camera in your classroom. It's got an 8-hour onboard battery. Don't got to worry about any wires tripping over anything. It's all good. So I can move this over my subject here. I can go to autofocus. I can even do it really, really close so you can see in detail this microphone that I'm using. And this is actually the mic that I'm using to talk to you guys right now. But isn't that cool, guys? So even though this is a completely wireless solution, you can see the quality of the picture is still quite exceptional. And we're zoomed in on this microphone just to see some of the detail. In Sphere 2 software, we have some of the same ability as we do as our whiteboard, where we have our basic annotation. It supports multi-touch as well. And you have different icons, different types of annotation tools that you have on the top bar here, very similar to our whiteboard software. I can go ahead and clear the page of all annotations. And now on this right side here, I can actually control the camera wirelessly through this application. So I can actually zoom in and zoom out. So I can choose to zoom in. I can autofocus it. So this is focusing even more. I can choose to rotate the display if I want to. So here I'm just rotating it. And I also have some controls, camera controls, such as adjusting the color of it. So here I can choose it to turn it to a black and white. Or I can turn it to an inverted color. Just some little options that we have here. And then of course, I'll just write mic. Take a snapshot. And if we go here, we have our whiteboard that we have on this in the software, as well as a media manager, which has all the snapshots that you have. But what's really cool is that even though you have these snapshots, you can always open these up, and then you can bring up the Android annotation overlay to annotate over this further. So you can always annotate more and more and more, no matter what you have on the screen. So we always have that option for you. Last but not least, we have, since it is running an Android operating system, you can install some of your favorite applications on here. Some of the favorites are here from Classrooms, of course, Duolingo, Class Dojo, ClassLink, Minecraft, and of course, like Angry Birds, Candy Crush, all available, all able to download through here. You can run a third-party app called APK Pure. This application allows you to install and search for those apps that you want to use in the classroom. Of course, keep it educational, guys. Don't let your kids run over you by installing a bunch of other apps you don't want to have on the panel. All right, folks, I think that wraps me up for about today. Let me know if you guys have any questions just by writing in the chat. If you guys don't have any questions, you guys can always reach me at my email address, and I'll be sending that out to you guys shortly after the meeting, as well as a link for a quick survey just on the webinar itself. But this is V44, the new firmware. Remember, guys, if you do have a panel, update it as soon as you can. These improvements to the panel have been excellent. Remember, just go to All Apps, go to System Update. Through here, you can update the firmware at any time, all through the OTA. It's really simple to update. It does it all automatically. Just make sure you are connected to the internet. I do recommend being connected through Ethernet over Wi-Fi. It just is faster, more reliable. But if you don't have an Ethernet port available, just do it through Wi-Fi. And you should be all set and dandy. So to check my firmware, I'm just going to go to the settings, go to About, and this is where you'll see the firmware version. One more change I forgot to mention, in the settings icon, here's a brightness bar. You now have power to adjust brightness through the touch panel here, and make sure you disable the auto brightness on here. I like to have my brightness on manual so you can manually have it so that your brightness isn't just randomly changing throughout the day. So I like to keep it like that. Other fixes is that it just has improved performance of the panel overall. It's more snappy and responsive. So I highly recommend that update as soon as you guys can. That about wraps up the webinar for today. I want to thank all of you guys so much for joining me today. I hope I see you guys next time. I hope I'm not traveling so much so I can have another one of these. Make sure and feel free to reach out to me if you guys have any questions in regards to the panel, in regards to any troubleshooting problems, or maybe sales and purchasing options. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys have a great rest of your Thursday. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. Hope you all take care. Have a good one, and goodbye.